Okay, so on this project, I have two side quests that I'm going to take everybody on because, hey, sometimes side quests are the best. This one in particular is something that, I started architecture because of Lego. And I love physical forms. I absolutely love building models, but that's something that's kind of lost for obvious budget reasons in architecture. But fabrication and 3D printing is really bringing that back. And this is one of those things as a site model that would be great if I could quickly fabricate it and begin creating some physical models with different options, things to show a client. Now, I don't have a huge 3D printer, but we have one that's sizable enough to at least start looking at this workflow so that as 3D printers, larger 3D printers become more accessible, something we can be ready to start doing. So process is pretty simple. I've got base one selected right here. I'm going to go to my three dots, and right here is two things: send to Revit and download Revit add-in. So if you haven't done this yet, you need to make sure you're adding the Revit add-in. Essentially, it's a simple little plugin. But before that, I can just click send to Revit once I have that completed, once I have that plugin installed. So inside of Revit, I'm just going to go to New, Browse. Let's set up something with the default template. And underneath Massing and Site, you are going to see, once you've installed that plugin, Forma. I can go to Load Proposal. And I am going to see this. Oh, well, I need to update. That's okay. We're just going to continue without updating. Cross our fingers, hope that it works. But I should see a list of recent files that I can bring in. So here we go, Route 66 Museum, base 1, load. So this is going to take a few moments, but one of the key things this is going to do is it's going to give me a topo solid as well as all of my buildings in physical three-dimensional virtual form, which is really cool because then really I'm only one simple step away from sending this to a 3D printer. So if I look at this in 3D, I have this really amazing map already coming together. It's got my trees on it. I can identify exactly where the site is. I have topography lines now everywhere across this Revit model, and this is something that I am ready to start working with. Now, obviously, I could start putting massing proposals, things on there as well, but for right now, I am just interested in getting this sent to the 3D printer. So from here, all that I need to do is File, Export, CAD formats, and I'm going to save this as an STL file. And I'm going to send this just right to my desktop, and we'll call this as built Route 66 site. Okay, once that's exported, we're going to need to run it through just a couple of simple things, namely the Prusa slicer, and we are going to need to validate the scale that it is going to come in at. So let's switch over to the Prusa slicer. Again, Prusa printer is absolutely amazing. It doesn't look like I have Prusa Slicer launched. Let's go ahead and launch that really quickly. Oh, I do. Here we go. Prusa. So we're running MK4s and MK3s. MK4s are my favorites, so we're going to work through that. So we'll go Menu, File, Import, STL, As-Built Route 66. Obviously, this is more than a mile by a mile in size, so it's not going to fit. So it's going to automatically scale down, which is totally fine. And we want to look at these scale factors and see what exactly I can do to get that working. So we have a little thing called the scale calculator. And this is essentially working from Revit, assuming that we export without changing anything. We're not exporting in millimeters, we're exporting in feet and inches. And I know that if I am 1 inch equals, let's say 200 feet, I would have a scale factor of 12.69. We're going to do this at a 500 foot, so it's 5.08% is the scale that I need to be at. 5.08, and that is ready to slice and send. So we'll run the slice now. That's at 15% infill, which is a little bit much, but you can see in 4 hours at reasonably good settings for an architectural model, I have a 3D model, which turns out really, really nice.